Welcome to my World History Notes, where I share with you things that I'm learning or have learned about world history and working on the Cold War right now, trying to learn more about it, trying to learn more details and get into some detail. And so I just want to share what I'm learning with you. And look, I'm not trying to make money. Okay. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, great. If not, that's fine. Just want to share what I'm learning with you. It's just fun for me. Okay. So let's get that straight off the bat. There's a lot of really good videos out there with details and very nice graphics and stuff like that. I like it's great. This is just going to be a few minutes of just things that I'm learning, and I'm going to keep doing this. I'm learning a lot, uncovering things that are right there in the open. But there's something you're taught in school, and that's not something that you're going to see on the news a lot. So let's begin. Excuse me. Today, I want to begin instead of a particular individual. I like to talk about a geographical region. Now, Latin America, in the time that we've been talking about, excuse me, in the first half of the 20th century, there was a lot of outside events that were impacting it economically and politically. And ideologies were being imported from Europe and United States, and the examples of President Roosevelt's New Deal in the United States, and then there was all these left and right totalitarians, left wing collectivism and right wing collectivism in Europe, and then many Latin Americans, radical people who were trying to impose change. Um, a lot of them, their examples were dropped off gradually after World War One. So what happened is the left consisted of socialist parties. Generally, they were moderate, inspired in large part by European social democracy. Then you have breakaway socialists who admired the Russian Revolution in 1917. They founded communist parties in their own countries, and not the least, strictly Latin American expressions such as the Mexican agrarian reform movement. Socialist parties were strongest in the southern part South America, the Chilean, briefly gaining a share of national power as a member of the Popular Front government elected in 1938. Excuse me. The communists were also strong in Chile, but first entered the national administration in Cuba after Batista had been elected president with their support in 1940. So they got the communists who would overthrow him eventually, 20 years later, helped him get into power in 1940 in Cuba. Once the Soviet Union entered World War II in 1941, um, well, basically, they were on the German side in 1939, and Germany attacked them in 41, if you remember. But then once they were on the defense from the fascists, so the right wing collectivists attacked the left wing collectivists, um, and communist parties in several other countries, including Brazil and Nicaragua, formed alliances with strongmen dictators, but they nowhere became a true mass party. And there was an exaggerated fear of Bolshevism on the part of Latin American elites. And so communist parties were subject to widespread repression, except during the war itself. So it was a hotbed of activity, but there was not a thorough. The communists weren't strong. Um, so another event. Let's go to a timeline here situation. In late June of 1945, June 29th, the Czechoslovak government ceded Ruthenia to the Soviet Union. Now, if you look at the map, I think Ruthenia would be mostly what the area that was Ruthenia was narrowed to. Was a larger geographic area before in history, but it was like in northeast Kingdom of Hungary and known as the Carpathian Ruthenian, and then it was like kind of like southwest Ukraine. And so what happened was of course, the Soviet army occupied the territory in 1944, and in 1945 it was annexed to the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. So they called them Rusyns, Rusyns. They were not an officially recognized ethnic group in USSR. The Soviet government considered them to be Ukrainian. So so today, Ukraine considers what was Ruthenia would have been narrowed to the Ruthenia. They call them Rusyns, Rusyns. Um, they are considered part of the Ukraine, or they considered them part of the Ukraine. So anyway, and there's a lot more history to it, and a lot more things going back further in history, but I'm not going to go there. So basically, you have the Soviet Union, its territories, it's like Ukraine gobbling up territory. So it's getting itself prepared for what it must do. And we're going to discuss this Cold War more, this Cold War that some say was initiated by Joseph Stalin, and I say was prolonged by the United States in the way we handled it. You'll see things. You'll see what I'm talking about as time goes by. Okay, I hope you're interested in the Cold War. I hope that you'll study and listen and read and come to your own conclusions. I think that it's fascinating, and I think you'd enjoy it if you did. So I hope you will, and thank you for listening, and have a great day.